understand the reason why you need a business mentor, right? You want to set up everything the correct way from the start to finish. You don't want to spend unexpected money. You don't want to spend more money than you need to. You don't want to go through hoops and hurdles. So having a mentor and following someone that has been in the business game for over 15 years, learning from different cultures, learning from predominant men in the game. So it's important that you follow all of these steps, making sure that you register your business. You want to make sure that you get your EIN. You want to make sure that you get your DUNS. So you want to make sure when you're starting the business that all of these things are done in order and that you're doing them the correct way, because you don't want to go back and redo different things because mistakes cause, right? You want to make sure that you have your DUNS. You also want to make sure that when you're registering your business, that you keep everything separate. You do not want anyone to know where you live at, right? And then you want banks, you want people to take you, want other companies to take you serious. You can always get different virtual addresses and mailboxes so that you show that your business is legit. You can get a local tax business with the same virtual office address. You want to also make sure that you have a separate phone number from your actual personal number. I also even recommend getting a 1-800 number or 888 number or 866 number when you apply for a new business email address. Also make sure you purchase your domain. You want to make sure that you're doing, if your business is hands-on development, you could say help@handsondevelopment.com because they don't want to see gmail.com. You don't want to go back and redo different mailboxes and pay for things all over again or forward new mail to your business email. So it's best that you do everything the right way the first time. It's going to cost money in the beginning, but guess what? You're going to reap all of that money with funding, making sure that your business is done correctly, and with the different contracts. Once you get all of the virtual mailboxes, so then you're gonna start applying for your local tax business receipt with your local agencies. Then you're going to make sure that you get your general liability insurance, because you never want to be caught off guard with anything, especially if you provide a service. Let's say, for instance, you go into someone's home and you provide a service and you make a mistake and hit the wrong plumbing tube or something like that, and now the house is flooded and the furniture is damaged. So you want to make sure that you have insurance so that can cover that. You also want to make sure that you have your operating agreements. So with your operating agreements, whenever the bank asks you for your documents, you have it ready. When it's time for you to finance, purchase properties, purchase vehicles, you have all of those things in order. So a lot of us, we don't take the time to make sure that we have our docs in order. We have a business plan. We have a website. Purchase your domain, even with your name. Purchase all of the .com, .net, .orgs, everything, so that you know it belongs to you. Get your business trademark. You never want anyone to use your business name or sell the same products you have. Make sure you have a logo. When it's time for you to get your branding or your marketing and time to put your capability statement up, most businesses, the first thing they ask for is your logo and your email. So make sure that you have your logo. Make sure you have your letterhead. That's something that's important as well. Make sure you open up, I tell people, open up a minimum of 3 different business bank accounts, because something like what just happened on Monday, if one bank failed, guess what? You have several other business bank accounts that you could go to, that you could pull your money out of. You have merchant accounts. You have different benefits at different banks. So you want to make sure that with your business, you have at least a minimum of 3 different bank accounts. You never want to do business through your personal account. Most businesses offer Square, where you can take different credit card payments, as well as able to write your own invoicing. Make sure you have contracts in place when you're doing services for people. When you're providing services or you are going to be a consultant, make sure that you have those agreements and contracts in place to protect you, right? And so that people know what you're offering and what you require from them. Client who came to me, everything was disarray, so I had to go back and I had to get everything in order for them. But guess what? The good thing about this client, they knew that everything was not in order, so they was receptive of that. So you have some clients that give you backlash. They're like, oh, you don't know what you talk about. I did it right because my auntie told me and she had a business for 10 years. Just because your auntie had a business for 10 years don't mean that she was operating it in the correct manner that she should have been, right? A lot of us, we try to take advice from the wrong people, even though they are in business, right? If they're not going to different workshops, if they're not going to different seminars, if they don't have a business consultant or a business mentor, there's certain things that they won't know either. So don't talk down on anybody's family, but don't always think that because it's your auntie that her word, or your uncle that his word is golden, right? You want to get to someone who's experienced, who's actually going out and making things happen, and starting several companies and making sure other companies are getting started, and not only are starting but flourishing, right? You want to make sure that you're actually making money from those companies and that you're building millionaires. So I had this one client who actually knew everything was not in order and did not have a problem paying me, sitting with me, doing her mentorship, guiding her, teaching her the correct way of handling business, doing her affairs the right way, making sure all of her paperwork was documented, and also bringing her a CPA on the team. A lot of us feel like when we have small businesses, or we're just starting out, or we just made our first $40,000 from a business, that you don't need an accountant, and you do, because you still want them to keep track of your profit and loss statement. You still want them to be able to prove what you made from that business and have your income and your expenses, because when it's time to pay Uncle Sam, you want to file your businesses the right way. I'm not an accountant, but from experience with purchasing businesses and purchasing different properties under my business name, you receive income from it, okay? Even if you sell it, you receive some type of income from it. Or even if you're renting it out, you receive some income from it. So most of my tax advisors, they always file an S corp with that, because they want to make sure that all of my legal documents are together and that I don't have to pay Uncle Sam more than I need to pay him. So a lot of us, we skip the process, or we don't have people in place on our team because we feel that we're not big enough. Do not count your small business as just a regular old mom and pop's business. Treat it like an already established Fortune 500 company, because if you're anything like me, that's what you're aiming for. You're aiming to be a billionaire. You're aiming to open and keep multiple businesses. Even if something happens to you, even if you are on your deathbed, you still want your legacy to live on with your different companies and businesses that you establish. So with that being said, make sure you have the right mentor that's going to guide you. Have a marketing team. Marketing is very important. Make sure that you're keeping your personal social media handles separate from your business social media handles. Make sure that you have a LinkedIn. Make sure you have a Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Make sure you have flyers, business cards. When I walk out of my house, there's always something to represent my business and who I am. Rather it be Dr. J Hud, rather it be my logo, rather it be one of my pens. I always have business cards with me. I always have something. I always have something to represent who I am, what my company is. They don't have to guess to find me or anything, because if you just type in Dr. J Hud, you're going to find me everywhere, right? So make sure that you have these things in order when you're walking out. You be your walking billboard, right? Be your walking brand. You don't have to purchase a billboard right now out of your own capital if that's something that you can't afford, because you are your walking brand. So keep that stuff in mind. What's the LLP? LLC is a limited liability company. You ready? A LLC is a limited liability company. Also, I want to talk about that. When you're registering your business, make sure you know what you're registering your business for. Rather it be a holding company, you'll do a corporation, rather it be a new business that you're starting, if you want to get for profit, that is your limited liability. If you're looking for a nonprofit where you're not making any gains, any financial gains, then you'll start your nonprofit corporation. So make sure that when you're registering your business, you're designating that and you're keeping in mind what it is that you want to do in your end goal. Because even with a nonprofit, even if filing in the state of Florida, you also must have 3 members ready to go, because they won't even approve it, they won't even accept it without 3 members ready to go on your board. So that's the importance of having a nonprofit too, because a lot of people, they want to be one person with a nonprofit, and that's not traditional. Another thing is you want to make sure that you have virtual assistants when you're starting. Allow your virtual assistants to learn with you. They're going to grow when you grow. So allow them to learn the different courses that you're taking, the different seminars, different mentors you're meeting with. Allow them that opportunity to learn and grow so that they could be around for the long haul too, and they could, learn and do the things that you need them to do that might take too much time for you to do, right? You also want to schedule photo shoots. It's very important that every so often you schedule photo shoots, because you want to make sure that you're in. You want to make sure that whatever you're providing, you're up to date. You have a lot of content that you can post on YouTube and your different social media handles. So you can find me on all social media handles, Dr. J Hud. You can schedule a consultation, www.justdivineuniversity.com, JUSTDIVINE university.com.